am reacting to your wrestling hot takes. I do these videos once a week, so if you want to submit your hot take for next week's video, make sure that you're following me on X. Every Thursday, I ask for your hot takes on there. And hey, as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm confident that you're gonna fall in love with this channel because we upload daily wrestling content. Now let's read some stupid shit. Charlotte Flair should not reach 15-time women's champion. I get it, you're a Flair, but you're not Ric Flair, brackets, if that makes sense, or if you know what I'm trying to say. One, that doesn't make sense, and two, I don't know what you're trying to say. I don't know why we need to cap Charlotte's accomplishments based on what her father accomplished. They're two totally different people from two entirely different eras in two entirely different divisions of professional wrestling. I don't understand this. I also don't get this notion that no one can pass Ric Flair, as if Ric Flair is some sort of god that cannot be challenged. I'm down for people to pass Ric Flair. Let Randy Orton pass Ric Flair. Let Cena pass Ric Flair. Let Triple H pass Ric Flair. Let Charlotte pass Ric Flair. I don't care. Wrestlers passing Ric Flair's accomplishments for number of titles does not diminish Ric Flair's importance in the world of professional wrestling. Sheamus is the most underrated wrestler of all time and suffered from bad PG era booking for most of his early career. I mean, in most of his early career, he was immediately pushed to be WWE champion. So but I do get what you're saying, because even though he won WWE championships earlier on in his career, he never truly felt special. And I think it is because of this poor booking and lack of really true, deep, meaningful storylines that he didn't really ever get until later on in his career. So I am inclined to agree, but let's not pretend as if he didn't accomplish anything in his early career, because if anything, he accomplished more than the majority of WWE superstars ever do within his first 2 years in the company. Jinder Mahal should have held the WWE championship longer. No. Sailor Moon Santi's app is hot. I mean, you like what you like, man. Should CM Punk return to the WWE, he should headline one of the nights of WrestleMania 40 with Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. There's good history and bad blood between the two. A lot can be done storyline-wise, especially with the Rollins interview with him calling Punk a cancer. There's a lot that they can do, and it would be a great way to end the first night. If differences can be put aside, if they can put everything behind them and move forward as professionals, I am 100% down for this idea. Sure, I would love to see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, but I also don't want them in the ring if there's genuine animosity between the two, because we need wrestlers to be wanting to protect one another, right? So if there's genuine hatred between the two, if there's genuine heat, I don't necessarily want to see that. I want storylines based on fiction ultimately, although there is times where reality can seep in and it can be good, but for the most part, I want things to be fictional, in my opinion. WrestleMania should go back to one night, even if it's long. It's only one night, and it makes it more prestigious to be on the card, especially in the main event. You're not wrong. A one-night WrestleMania does mean that if you are the main event of that one night, it certainly feels more special. But fuck no, okay? Look, I sat through like 7.5 hours of WrestleMania 35, and I will not do that again. Never in in this lifetime will I sit through a 7.5 hour wrestling show. I like wrestling. Hell, my career is wrestling, but I don't like wrestling that much. I'm happy that they split it up between 2 nights personally, but you're not inherently wrong. Yeah, of course, the main event of a one-night WrestleMania is gonna feel more special than the main event of 2 nights of WrestleMania. So yeah, you're right there, but no, fuck that. I don't wanna see that. We need a night from every city. Give me NYC night, rocking Tim's in a Yankees hat. His finisher would consist of slapping you with a bacon, egg, and cheese and cutting you with a Metro card. I don't know. Sure, okay. AEW has reached its ceiling, and I will never grow as long as Tony Khan is in charge. Storytelling and stars sell tickets. 5-star matches do not. I agree to a certain degree in that I believe that AEW has reached a level of popularity that it hasn't been able to reach again. In fact, it reached a ceiling and it's come right back down, and it's kind of just meandering here. But I don't believe that it's a ceiling that they can't pass through. I believe that through different methods of booking storylines and different signings that AEW can reignite the flame and the popularity that it had about 2 years ago. And I think one of the biggest problems is a lack of really coherent long-term storytelling. Like, a lot of the times I'll turn on Dynamite and there are matches that are just there for the sake of being good matches, and that's great and all, but ultimately, like you say here in this tweet, 5-star matches do not sell tickets. You aren't necessarily wrong. It's a combination of story storytelling, characters, and in-ring work. That is what makes wrestling wrestling. And if you just focus on putting on amazing matches, you're gonna please a certain demographic, but you're not gonna please the entire wide world of professional wrestling fans. Gunther is not it. He's a glorified Kozlov, cringe image and gimmick. If he's a top star in the WWE, loses credibility. The fuck? Where the fuck does this even come from? What do you mean a glorified Kozlov? He's leagues ahead of anywhere Vladimir Kozlov ever was. Dude, I think you're just trying to trigger me. AEW will never be taken seriously with the man baby Tony Khan at the helm. They don't conduct themselves anywhere near as professional as the WWE. Well, the WWE has a lot more checks and balances to prevent major executives like Tony Khan from being too overly outspoken on Twitter, like a PR team. Tony Khan's Twitter does not adhere to any sort of PR guidelines, and recently I believe that he has made a little bit of a fool of himself on the internet. I also think that he's somebody that takes business a little bit too personal, but hey, who am I to tell him how to do business? He's the billionaire, I am not. But hey, I feel like, you know, anytime that the WWE does something to treat him like an actual competitor, he does tend to throw tantrums on Twitter, and it's a bad look. The greatest wrestler of all time is Triple H. He may have had some bad pay-per-view records, but look at everything this man has been a part of and accomplished. Triple H is at least in the GOAT conversation when it comes to accomplishments as well as championships. I picked this one not necessarily because I agree that Triple H is the GOAT, but to point out the fact that this man is never in the GOAT conversation, and I don't understand why. We should definitely be talking about Triple H more in that GOAT status, but we never do. At the very minimum, as the greatest heel of all time, at the very least, he deserves to be in the narrative there. Solo Sikoa could be the superstar of the future. He just needs to move away from the bloodline and either get a manager or go back to being an NXT solo. There's no way that he'll ever go back down to NXT. He's too ingrained in the main roster at this point and has had too many major matches on the main roster to go back to NXT. I mean, he's headlined numerous WWE PLEs at this point, and he was even part of the main event of WrestleMania. So no, he's not going to NXT anytime soon, and I don't think that that would necessarily be good for him. But I do think that he is a top star in the making for the WWE. He's only 30 years old. He's got 15 more years left of that prime wrestling years. So yeah, he's going to be a future star, but I don't necessarily think that he needs to go to NXT. And in terms of getting a manager, he definitely needs one. I don't see him as a talker. I mean, his whole character gimmick shtick is that he doesn't talk. He's just the brooding destroyer, and that type of character inherently does need a mouthpiece. The mixed tag challenge was one of the WWE's best ideas. Shit, yeah, we need to see more unique things like that. I like this one. That's a good idea. AEW is going to have the same fate as Impact Wrestling. They'll never die, but never get taken seriously. So get taken seriously by who? Because the WWE took them seriously by putting all of their major stars and Hall of Famers on NXT just to go up against Dynamite. So clearly the WWE is taking them seriously enough that they saw Dynamite as a danger to NXT ratings. So the WWE treats them seriously. So why shouldn't we as fans? I get where the sentiment is coming from, but I think that there's a big wave of negative sentiment around AEW at the moment, but ultimately AEW has done way more good than it's done bad. And it's only 4 years old, and only at 4 years old, it's already filling out Wembley at 80,000+ people. AEW is just fine. It's just in a rough patch at the moment. There will never be another build like Rock versus Cena at WrestleMania 28. It's the greatest feud of all time. I won't touch whether it's the greatest feud of all time aspect because I disagree. I don't think that it is, but it is a very unique feud. It is a very unique build that you're right. I don't think that we'll ever see again. A 1 year build to one WrestleMania match is actually, no pun intended, and I know this is cheesy, legitimately once in a lifetime, even though it ended up being twice in a lifetime. But you get the sentiment. Like, it really had to have been a moment in time that you had to be there for. If you weren't there to experience Rock versus Cena, that 1 year buildup, it's impossible to explain. But yeah, now that The Rock and John Cena have these liability insurances that prevent them from being part of WWE shows whenever they're, close to filming season, this is actually impossible to do with somebody from Hollywood now. The only way to pull this off is with WWE superstars that are active in the WWE, but keeping them away for a year and building up hype for a year while still keeping them separate from one another, even though they're still on the same brand, would be borderline impossible. I don't think that you can redo the magic of Rock versus Cena at WrestleMania 28. WWE has no good face factions currently. Most of the stock is in the heel factions right now. Look, I picked this one because I keep saying LWO should turn heel, and everybody comes at me and says, well, you just want every faction to be heel. Yes, factions are inherently better as heels. The best babyface factions are the ones that started out as heels anyway. Look at the Shield. Started out as heels, became good guys, popular faction. DX, same thing. Like, factions are just inherently better as bad guys because the idea is that the bad guys aren't strong enough on their own, so they come together to bully the good guys. That is the whole purpose of factions, and it just doesn't work as well when everyone's a good guy. The New Day, oh, great heel babyface faction, started off as bad guys. Well, I guess good guys, but just wasn't working, and then bad guys. But anyways, I digress. Look, factions are just better as heels. It's just the truth. The Undertaker streak is overrated. Half of the matches were awful. Asuka and Goldberg streaks were better. Really? Goldberg's streak was better. But you wanna talk about how some of the Undertaker's matches were awful. Dude, just go back and watch. Pick out 5 great 5-star matches, 3-star matches from Goldberg's streak, and then let's have a conversation, because they don't exist. WWE needs to stop going to the East Coast. What the fuck did the East Coast do to you? Yeah, no, they're not going to stop going to the East Coast. That's their biggest market. They're going to make money over there. And they go to the West Coast and middle United States fairly often. Heel champions are more appealing. Face champions usually get stale and boring when they hold the belt for too long. This is true. It's generally known that it's better for the babyface to be the one chasing as opposed to the babyface being the gatekeeper. For some reason, when the babyface wins a lot as a champion, people just naturally and gradually turn on that person. I think Seth Rollins is a great example back in 2019. So yeah, this is just a true statement. Kevin Patrick is still overhated. I've heard better commentary, but I think he should be given more time to grow. Send him to NXT so he can grow more there, hopefully. I agree. I think they should send him back down to NXT, but I believe that the criticism that Kevin Patrick gets is entirely fair. I don't think people hate Kevin Patrick, so I don't know if overhated is a proper word, but I don't like him in commentary. I think he's very bland. I think he's very stale, and he points out things that are just like way too obvious and gets too many things wrong for him to be the main play-by-play guy for WWE's biggest show right now, Friday Night SmackDown. I think he should go back down to NXT, and I think Joseph currently on NXT is leagues better, far better, and adds more charisma and personality to his commentary than Kevin Patrick ever has. AEW is cool. I feel like we needed to add that one today. Y'all have been sending just so much AEW hate, and it is funny to point out that saying something positive about AEW these days is considered a hot take. So yeah, AEW is cool. Goldberg is the most overhated wrestler of all time. His run in the modern day wasn't even that bad. Yes, it was. I think that the Velveteen Dream should get one more chance in the WWE. I don't know, man. The Velveteen Dream get another chance? Like, there's some pretty damn incriminating evidence to the type of human that he is. Look, I'll tell a story about Velveteen Dream really quick. So I got my girlfriend into wrestling, like briefly for a little bit. She got really into NXT with me, but she likes the glamour of wrestling. She likes over-the-top characters, and when we went to an NXT show, she fell in love with the Velveteen Dream. Naturally, he was awesome. I loved the Velveteen Dream at the time, so I got her a Velveteen Dream shirt, and she still wears the Velveteen Dream shirt to this day and goes to the gym with it and wears it all the time. And I just don't have the heart to tell her that he was messaging little children. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna reserve my judgment on this one. I don't know if we should bring him back. CeeDee Lamb should win Offensive Player of the Year. Are you kidding me? Have you been seeing what Justin Herbert has been doing? That's the Offensive Player of the Year. That man has single-handedly saved the Chargers head coach's job. LA Knight should get the Daniel Bryan treatment to make his world title win even more great. I don't know, man. I feel like they should do something unique for LA Knight if the plan is to bring him to the very top of the mountain and have him win the world championship. I don't think that replicating the Daniel Bryan storyline or something similar to that effect, I don't think that it works because they're entirely different characters. Daniel Bryan was the David to everyone's Goliath. He was the guy that wasn't supposed to be there. He was the guy that we raised up as fans, and he ended up proving us right by becoming world champion. Meanwhile, LA Knight is the confident guy. He's the guy that truly believes he already is up there. So I don't know that he necessarily, like in terms of a storyline perspective, needs us to catapult him to the top. So I think they need to do a very unique storyline that works for LA Knight's cocky, confident character. Santi isn't the best wrestling YouTuber. All right, so this is your Twitter. You don't think I'm the best wrestling YouTuber? Okay, how about we just go ahead and just quickly block you? How about that? All right, you want to play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. All right, I'm done. Get out of here.